The deep ocean is the Earth's last great wilderness. It's a world of crushing pressure and, honestly, eternal darkness. Down here, life exists on a knife's edge. We once believed we understood the fundamental rules of this realm. We thought we knew what was possible and what was not. But the vast, silent depths of the Pacific Ocean have sent us a message. It's a signal that challenges everything we thought we knew. At a staggering depth of 13,000 feet, where sunlight has never reached, scientists have found something that simply should not be there. It's a discovery so profound, so utterly unexpected, that it forces us to reconsider the very nature of life on our own planet. This story begins not with a creature, but with a measurement, an impossible reading from a place few have ever seen. Imagine a world completely alien to our own. The pressure is immense, over 400 times greater than at the surface. The temperature hovers just above freezing. In this seemingly barren landscape, survival itself is a miracle. Scientists, driven by an unquenchable curiosity, sent their instruments into this abyss. They were searching for the faint whispers of life, the slow and steady rhythms of an ecosystem adapted to extremes. What they found was not a whisper, but a shout. A chemical signature so out of place it seemed like an error. The discovery has sent ripples of shock and excitement through the scientific community. It's a genuine mystery, a puzzle from the planet's deepest heart. How could this be? What unknown process is at work in the crushing blackness? The find is more than just a scientific curiosity. It's a clue that suggests the deep ocean is far more dynamic and interconnected than we ever imagined. It hints at powerful, unseen forces that are reshaping this hidden world. And it raises a critical question. What else do we not know about the largest and least explored habitat on Earth? The implications are vast and, honestly, a bit unsettling. Our planet's oceans are a single, connected system. A change in one part can have unforeseen consequences in another. This strange signal from the deep is not just an isolated event. It could be the first sign of a much larger, more significant transformation occurring beneath the waves. A transformation that has been happening silently, far from our sight. We are only now beginning to listen to the stories the deep ocean has to tell, and this first chapter is one of profound and startling mystery. It is a wake-up call from the abyss. Our journey takes us to a specific, remote part of the Pacific Ocean. It's called the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, or CCZ. This is a vast, sweeping plain of the seafloor stretching for millions of square miles between Hawaii and Mexico. It's one of the most isolated places on Earth. For centuries, this region was a blank spot on our maps, a void of crushing depth. But we now know it is not empty. The CCZ is a unique habitat, rich in valuable minerals like manganese and cobalt. And where there are resources, there is life, uniquely adapted to this incredible environment. Scientists from around the world have turned their attention to the CCZ. Their mission is one of urgent discovery. As humanity looks to the deep sea for the resources needed for our modern technologies, we must first understand what is already there. The goal is to create a baseline, a detailed picture of the creatures that call this abyssal plain home. They're studying how these animals live, breathe, and interact in a world without light. They seek to map the delicate web of life before it is disturbed. This is a race against time to document a world that could soon be changed forever. To explore such a hostile place, scientists rely on incredible technology. They can't go down there themselves. Instead, they send robotic explorers. One of their most important tools is the automated seafloor lander. This is a sturdy, sophisticated platform equipped with cameras, sensors, and sampling devices. It's carefully lowered through miles of water to land gently on the soft sediment of the ocean floor. Once there, it can operate on its own for days or even weeks, collecting precious data and sending it back to the eager scientists on the ship far above. It is our eyes and hands in the abyss. Inside this lander is another brilliant piece of engineering, the benthic chamber. This is a small, sealed box that's placed over a patch of the seafloor. It acts like a tiny enclosed world. Inside, sensitive instruments measure the chemical changes in the water and sediment over time. Specifically, they measure the rate of respiration. They look at how much oxygen the mud-dwelling organisms are consuming. This tells them how active life is on the seafloor. It's a slow, patient method for taking the pulse of the deep. It was this very instrument that returned the impossible result. The data began to stream back to the research vessel. Scientists gathered around their screens, expecting to see the familiar patterns of deep-sea life. They anticipated very low levels of oxygen consumption, reflecting the slow pace of existence in the cold, dark depths. The initial readings seemed normal, confirming their theories. But then, as the benthic chamber continued its work in one particular location, the numbers started to change. They flickered, then climbed. They climbed past the expected levels. They kept climbing until they showed something that, according to all known models, was simply not possible. The results were shocking. The instruments were reporting that in some patches of the seafloor, the oxygen levels were incredibly high. They were not just a little higher than expected, they were significantly higher. In some isolated spots, the concentration of oxygen within the sediment was even greater than the oxygen levels in the surface waters of the ocean, thousands of feet above. This was a complete contradiction of the laws of ocean chemistry as we understood them. Oxygen is produced at the surface by phytoplankton and then slowly gets used up as it sinks. It should always be lowest at the bottom. The team checked their equipment. They ran diagnostics. They calibrated the sensors again and again. Every test came back perfect. The lander was working flawlessly. The data was real. An unknown process was at work on the abyssal plain, actively pumping oxygen into the seafloor environment. Or perhaps something was preventing the oxygen from being used up in the normal way. The scientists were baffled. There are no plants here to produce oxygen through photosynthesis. What could possibly be the source of this unexpected breath in the planet's deepest, darkest corners? This finding forces us to ask fundamental questions. Is there a form of life we have never encountered before? A biological or geological process that we have no name for? This isn't just a small detail, it's a major anomaly that could rewrite textbooks. The deep sea, which we viewed as a stable, predictable, and oxygen-poor environment, is clearly anything but. It is a world of secrets, and we have just stumbled upon one of its most profound. The discovery of these oxygen oases opens up a whole new field of inquiry into the hidden mechanics of our planet. This mystery deepens when we connect it to other strange events. In recent years, there have been unusual and alarming reports from all over the world. Deep-sea creatures, animals that should never leave the abyss, have been spotted near the surface. The ghostly goblin shark, the colossal squid, and the fragile oarfish have all been found in shallow waters far from their natural homes. For a long time, these were seen as isolated incidents. But now, with the discovery of these oxygen-rich zones, we must wonder if they are all connected. Are these animals being driven from their deep-sea homes by these changes? The implications for marine life are immense. The ocean's ecosystems are built on a delicate balance of temperature, pressure, and chemistry. The sudden appearance of high oxygen zones could be highly disruptive. It might benefit some organisms, creating new opportunities for life to thrive. But it could be toxic or deadly to others, especially those specifically adapted to low oxygen environments. We could be witnessing the beginning of a massive shift in the distribution of life in the ocean, a forced migration from the depths upwards. This is an ecological upheaval on a planetary scale. For humanity, this warning from the deep is stark and direct. The oceans are not just a distant, beautiful wilderness. They are the engine of our planet's climate. They produce half of the oxygen we breathe and absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide. If fundamental processes are changing in the deep ocean, it will inevitably affect the surface and ultimately us. These changes could alter weather patterns, disrupt global fisheries that feed billions of people, and impact the very air we depend on. We are inextricably linked to the health of the ocean, from its sunlit surface to its darkest depths. We stand at a critical moment. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone, once a symbol of the unknown, has now become a symbol of unforeseen change. The Earth's last wild frontier is sending us a clear message. It is not the stable, unchanging world we once assumed. It is in flux, and we do not understand the forces at play. We are exploring the deep sea for its resources, yet we are only just beginning to grasp its fundamental nature. We must proceed with the utmost caution, for in our ignorance, we risk awakening giants and triggering changes we cannot control. The abyss is speaking, and we must listen.